Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of my tips for a penetration testing or information security analyst career. This time, I'm going to briefly talk about hacking concepts, but instead of doing it theoretically and going through the same stuff like ethical hacker, which I don't like as a term, white hat hacker, and so on and so forth. I'm going to use a virtual machine downloaded from volhub.com and used in a capture the flag competition to demonstrate some hacking concepts. We already went through some pen testing concepts like reconnaissance and port scanning and stuff like that. Now, the difference between this and hacking is that hacking is pretty much the next level, which means a pen tester relies very often on automated tools that generate reports, but a hacker goes way beyond that because a hacker writes his or her own tools, knows how to code, and develops specific solutions for the system he or she is faced up with. Whereas low-level penetration testers only rely on automated tools like Metasploit. Now, Metasploit and all the tools available in Kali are great tools, but they don't always work, or they don't always work the way they were intended. What I mean by this is that the specific system you're targeting might have security implementations in place that prevent the successful execution of an exploit or an attack. And if this is the case, you need to find another solution. You need to rack your brain and think of what can be exploited against a specific system based on the reconnaissance you did in the first stage. And here I'm going to repeat that reconnaissance is paramount. If you don't have a good reconnaissance, there's nothing you can do about that. You don't have enough information for you to exploit and successfully attack the target system. Now you see that this virtual machine has some credentials for you to log in. Of course, we don't know what credentials are, so we need to hack it through our Kali virtual machine. We know the IP address of this vulnerable machine because it's shown in the login page here. So the first thing we want to do is performing an mmap scan to see what we got. Here I'm using service versioning to understand what ports are open and what services are running on this machine. You see a bunch of open ports, especially SSH, DNS, HTTP, POP3, IMAP, Samba, and so on and so forth. You see that it's a Linux virtual machine, and it's of course a VMware virtual machine, but we already knew that. Now we saw there was a web server running on port 80, so we can go to the website and we see what we got. You see we got a page. I analyzed the code, but nothing relevant was found. However, Going to the robots.txt file, we see two interesting data. This allow WordPress, which means this directory exists on the website and we can go there. So you have a WordPress website. Out of curiosity, if we click this link, we find this Wikipedia page in French. I don't speak French, so I don't really understand what it's about, but it looks like it's talking about the planet of some sort. Anyway, that's not very interesting. We know it's a WordPress website, so we can use WP scan to enumerate the directories on this web server and see what we can find. We see we have two users, one called admin and one called WP user. Now admin is pretty much the default username, so that's a vulnerability. It should have been disabled. Now I use another tool called dirbuster to enumerate directories on this website. I found the login page. Now there's a default word list that can be used, and that's what I'm doing here. And we can launch the attack. Of course, we're only interested in results returning the 200 code, which means found. All the other codes are either not found or prohibited, so we can access them. Okay, I aborted the attack because it would take too long, but anyway, it looks like certain pages we found are restricted and we need to log in first to access them. I tried the combination admin password, but it didn't work. However, this guy practically used default settings. I tried to log in as admin, and I was successful. So now I'm in as admin on the website. I was successful with SSH because WP admin is the default user. So if we use that as password too, we saw that admin was the username password combination. We can successfully have a shell. At this point, I can spawn an interactive shell with this Python one-liner. And you see that I'm WP admin, that I'm not root on this machine. If we analyze the directory this user is in, we see a flag.txt file, which is our first flag. Now we need to become root and to find the second flag. If we have a look at the root directory and we get around through the several directories, we can find in the var www an upload directory. In the upload directory we see a file called config.php. If we have a look at this file right now, we can find all the logins, including the root user and the root password for the database. At this point, we can assume the same passwords and username are used for SSH. Therefore, I'm going to use this password to log in as root. So, lo and behold, I'm root right now. So, if we navigate into the root directory, we find another flag, which is the second flag we needed to find. Alright, so we were successful. We got root access and we found the two flags we were supposed to find. So we achieved all our goals with this capture the flag virtual machine. Of course, this is an ultra simplified example as the whole post is targeted for beginners. So this is a beginner level capture the flag. Of course, real world capture the flag competitions can be much harder than that. But like I said, everybody got to start from somewhere. We all were noobs back in the day, so you don't have to be embarrassed with that. But that's a way for you to kind of get out of your comfort zone and experiment a little bit with hands-on scenarios. Other than that, with theory and theoretical concepts like reconnaissance and stuff like that. This is the way stuff gets actually done. So I hope you appreciated that. Of course, real hacking is much more and much more advanced stuff, but this is a first approach. Let me know if you appreciated this, or anyway, I realized that I had the guide to follow, but actually sometimes the walkthrough don't work perfectly with the specific virtual machines. Several steps I attempted following some guides didn't work and I had to pretty much improvise. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.